Well, being that we're RJsFro, why don't you tell us your all-time favorite Randy Jones moment or story?
Well, you know, watching Randy, he came up in 1973, and for a really terrible Padre team. He won 7 games and lost 6, and including the final game of the season. And the final game of the season, for the Padres, the season ended on a Saturday because the Chargers had a home game on Sunday. Everybody else ended on Sunday. But because of an early season rainout in Pittsburgh, the Padres might have to go back to Pittsburgh to play that game if it had a bearing on the pennant race. And sure enough, the dominoes fell on Sunday in such a way that we had to meet at the airport at 4 o'clock Sunday afternoon, fly back to Pittsburgh, and play the Pirates in a day game on Monday that could have had a bearing on winning the National League East for the Pirates. Now, it turns out the only way the Pirates could have won it, they were like a game and a half behind the New York Mets. But the Mets had a doubleheader in Chicago. So if the Mets lost both games and the Pirates beat the Padres, there would be a tie. And they'd have to have a playoff game. Well, we found out in about the second or third inning of the game against the Pirates that the Mets had beaten the Cubs in the first game of their doubleheader. They immediately rained out the second game in Chicago because it meant nothing. And we continued our game, but I think the Pirates had lost it. And Randy pitched a heck of a game and also got a double to drive in the winning run, so I'll remember that game.
Oh, got a double.
Yes, yep, and he wasn't a very good hitter.
No, he wasn't.
And then the team flew back to San Diego, and in 1973, the Padres had been sold to Washington, D.C., and we're going to move the next season to Washington, D.C. So as we flew back to San Diego, we didn't know if that was going to be the last game ever for the San Diego Padres. As it turned out, it wasn't.
2.
Right, talking about Randy, you know, after that game in 73, then the next year in 74, he lost 20 games. And then watching him rebound the way he did in 75 and 76. 75, he won the earned run average title and was runner-up to Tom Seaver for the Cy Young. And then in 76, 16-3 at the All-Star break, won the National League Cy Young Award, pitched over 300 innings, had all those complete games, 25. Probably too many because eventually a nerve snapped in his left elbow, and that really ended the Randy Jones regime as we remembered him. It was never the same after that. But boy, for 2 years, 75 and 76, he was among the game's elite as a pitcher.
So what do you think of Jerry Coleman still putting some time in the booth there?
I love it. You know, Jerry's he's a great guy, wonderful person. I learned so much from Jerry. I met him in 1971. We were hired as the broadcast team starting from the 1972 season. And I knew about him as a player with the Yankees. How I hated those Yankee teams. They always won. You know, pounded my poor old Washington Senators, who I grew up loving because I was in Arlington, Virginia when I started following baseball. But I listening to Jerry tell me about that era and baseball and so forth, it was a wonderful time, and I'm glad that he's still involved with the Padres because to me, Jerry is a Padre icon and still one of the most valuable assets that the Padres have.
I agree 100%. Let's do a little word play. I'm going to name 2 things, and you're going to tell me which one you think is the best. The 1984 Padres or the 1998 Padres?
98 Padres were a better team, but the 1984 Padres will always be the first Padre team to make it to the World Series.
Okay, the brown and gold or the blue and orange scheme that they got going?
You know, I mean, the brown and gold will always have a soft spot in my heart, you know, especially since the '84 team won it. But I think the uniforms look better now.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go Jack Murphy Stadium or Petco Park.
Well, Petco Park is a real baseball park.
Yes.
You know, and Qualcomm Stadium was a compromise between football and baseball. But Qualcomm is where I first saw the Padres play. You know, it'll always have a soft spot in my heart. It's where I broadcast all the games. Not only the Padres, but the Chargers. You know, and the Chargers are still playing there. Hopefully they'll get a new stadium. But because Petco Park cemented the survival of the Padres forever, I mean, you gotta love Petco Park.
Yeah. Okay, this one's gonna be a tough one. The chicken or the fryer?
That's not a tough one. Not a tough one for me.
Not a tough one.
The chicken was by far the best mascot in the history of baseball.
I agree. It's not a tough one at all.
Is it?
Well, thank you, Bob. I think that'll be, we'll wrap it up after that. You know, being that you've had over, according to your book, you've been over in 7,000 pre- and post-game interviews.
Yeah.
What do you think of this interview? Does it rank up there towards the top?
It ranks in the top half.
Okay, sounds good. That's good enough for me. You got that on camera.
Top 3,500, nice.
And it's probably 3,500.
Yeah.
All right, Pro TV signing out.
Paperback writer.